For our knee hold, we need to be comfortable in a variety of knee hang positions. At beginner level, that's things like our side spin and our ballet hook. At improver level, that's things like our genie and our Marley from the floor. And at intermediate, that's those skills up in the air, or things like our Gemini or outside leg hook. Now, I'm gonna put this one at intermediate level, but certainly there are people at improver level who will be able to do this. But there are also people who may not be ready till higher intermediate. We are all different and we all have different strengths and weaknesses. But this one is fairly safe to give a try, even if you don't achieve it. If you have hypermobile knees, I'm going to need you to be even more careful of your knees today and to listen to your body, okay? This may not be an ideal trick for you. And we also need to be aware that if we fall and we do not have our hands on, we are going to land on our kneecaps. So you absolutely need to have a crash mat and possibly a spotter at home if training alone. And you probably shouldn't be training alone. There should at least be someone in the building in case you fall off and hurt yourself who can get you medical attention. As someone who hurt my leg once, my kneecap actually subluxed whilst I was training by myself late at night in a studio. It's very scary when you think you might be left there for 24 hours or so until someone finds you. So don't risk it, put your safety in place. Okay, let's go for a little bit of a breakdown and then we'll try and do left and right. I can definitely do right. Left might be interesting. You guys have forced me to do both sides, and since I started this platform, I can really see my left side coming along. So learn from my mistake. When I first started, no one was really encouraged to do both sides. No one really cared. This was a long time ago. Okay, so starting with the pole next to you, you are going to hook your inside leg nice and high and your inside arm nice and high. Your outside arm comes low and it's going to go thumb up so you can push. Now, before I go into this, I'm on static, so as much as possible, I'm not spinning too much while I'm showing you. But I do find personally, this trick is 1,000 times easier for me if I have the pole on spin. There's something about the momentum that helps to stick me. Same as things like your Marley, okay? I find those are much easier with some spin. So, inside arm high, outside arm firm up. We need to take the bottom foot past the pole, so behind the pole, and bring the ankle on top of the top foot. So we're crossed here. And then we're going to wedge the pole in just below the bony part on our knee. So not just below the kneecap, there's another bony bit on the side. I'll show you in a minute, up close. That's where it needs to go. Now, how wide or how close varies from person to person. But then what we're going to do is push our hips forward, really squeeze everything as hard as we can, and take our hands off. Coming out, just bring the hands back on. You can either just pull yourself to sitting or in a nice position to take the leg off and go for a side spin position or a genie or wherever you can think of going. Okay, before we go into right and left, let's talk about those feet because this is the thing people seem to struggle with the most and the knee positioning. So let's talk knees first. Everyone's anatomy is slightly different. But on my knee, and I'm sure on most of your knees, we have the kneecap here, and then the inside, there's like a bony bit that kind of wraps around, okay? I wedge the pole just below. You might be able to see my red mark or my bruise. The pole for me wedges kind of like here, diagonal just to the side of my kneecap. I'm not trying to get it fully across the shin or on the outside. It is very much a diagonal motion, okay, on the inside of the knee. Now, different people do seem to position slightly differently depending on their anatomy, so it may not be the perfect place for you, but certainly I would avoid the kneecap and certainly I would avoid the shin. So now let's talk the feet before we do right and left. So it's a hard one to demonstrate on the floor because it's hard to get that position with the knee on the pole. So we're going to do it like I would when I teach a Marley. So we're going to lie down with the pole in front of us, laying on our side. We're going to take our top leg and hook it onto the pole. Our bottom leg now is behind the pole and our top leg is in front. Now what we're going to do, that bottom knee, imagine that bottom knee is on the pole. Obviously it's not, but imagine it is. And what we're going to do is just cross the bottom leg in front of the top leg, on top of the top leg, ankle to ankle or ankle to foot, wherever you can kind of get the position right. And we're actively pulling that bottom leg into the top leg to secure the top knee grip. Now this is where, if you're hypermobile or just have dodgy knees or are just a human being, we need to super pay attention to how this makes our knee feel. If anything feels wrong, painful, unstable, strange, don't do it. It can lightly rest there, or it can even go behind if it has to. It's still possible to hold a knee spin without that bottom foot pulling the top leg in, but it will be a little bit harder. You're going to have to rely on your leg muscles so much more, the top leg muscles so much more, okay? So, right side, front and back, and then let's see what happens with the left. So standing next to the pole is on my right. I hook my right knee nice and high, and I want my right hand high. My left hand is coming underneath my right knee with a little bit of a space so I can push. Now, in terms of exactly where the knee is going to position, it varies from person to person, but you don't want to go too close or too far. There's like a middle ground. Our limb lengths are all different. That's why I can't tell you exactly where to go. But if you get ankle to ankle, the bottom knee should slide nicely into place. So I'm going to push through my bottom arm, hang off my top arm, keeping my chest up. And I'm going to bring my foot behind the pole. My knee starts to rest on, but it's not in the perfect place just yet. I'm going to get my grip on my ankles first, and then I'm going to adjust my bottom knee. I'm then going to start to push my hips forward and squeeze like fuck. I'm really going to squeeze. I know I'm going backwards. And then I'm going to take my hands off. Okay, to come out, hands can go up and you can pull yourself out. Or like I did last time, you can go down into like a side spin pose. Okay, let's do a back view. So, pole is on my right. Right leg hooks, nice and high. Right hand, nice and high, nice and straight. You want to keep the chest up while we're going into this. If we lean too much, that's going to be pulling us off the pole. Left hand comes thumb up underneath and push. So my bottom foot, I'm aiming for the feet to go together first before I'm worrying about the knee too much. So I'm bringing the foot behind the pole and ankles together. Then I'm just adjusting that bottom knee. Now you need to start to bring the top hand back so you can lean out and push. So my knee's still not in the right place. Push your hips forward, squeeze your bum, squeeze your legs, pull your bottom foot into your top foot, take your hands off. Okay, left side. Now we're getting a little sore, so we definitely need to swap sides now. Okay, this is going to be interesting. So, left knee, nice and high. Left arm, nice and high. Right hand, thumb up below the left knee, pushing. Right foot goes behind and onto the top one. Bring the knee onto the pole. At this point, push the hips forwards, bring the top hand down a little bit if you need to. Squeeze like fuck, and there's no way taking my hands off on that side. That side is so much more sensitive. I've literally just doing that once. I've taken some skin off. That's nice. Okay, backwards view. As long as you understand the mechanics, you don't need to be able to see me take my hands off on both sides. It's going to take me a bit more practice for this one, I think. So, pole is on my left. Left knee, nice and high. Drag it on, squeeze. Left hand high. Right hand pushes thumb up. Actively push, don't let it collapse in. Bring the right foot behind the pole and onto the ankle. Bring the knee onto the pole, just below that bony bit. Start to push the hips forward. I don't want to do it. There is no conditioning at all on my left side on these ones, but that's okay. Whew. It's almost like I'm learning from scratch when I swap sides. So you get the experience of seeing what that's like. And it is painful. And I'm way more out of breath. Okay. Hopefully you know where to put everything. And hopefully I've given you enough detail that even if I can't show you on that side, you can understand it. As always, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. And don't forget to train smarter, not harder.